Oh, we're back for week 4. It's only week 4, and I feel like there's so much happened already in the season, Charlie. We've had a record scoring game at Liverpool Bournemouth. We've had the first sacking of the season. We've got a lot of FSG out on Twitter at the minute. We've got, I don't know, there's all kinds of stuff going on. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's been a fun weekend. Fun start of the season. Definitely some surprises out there. So I'm happy with it, Again, I said this the last couple of weeks. The last thing I wanted was another boring season where one or two teams just run away with it right from the start, and it doesn't look like that's happening, so that's good.
Yeah, no, it is. It's good. Well, we'll see how it goes. It's still early days, Man City, they were getting beat 2-0 at half time, and then the new signing goes and scores a hat-trick.
Yeah. It's almost like it's like they're having trouble getting into the game. But it's almost like they know that they can get into the game and win the game at any time, at any point in the game. So it's almost like, all right, even if there's 20 minutes left, they can score 3 goals in a 3-minute period. So that's what I feel about them. So you can never take a score like to heart when it's Man City, when someone's beating Man City, because you know what they're capable of.
As soon as they got the first one, I thought, that's it. They'll go on to win it. That's just what they're going to do. They've had a great start to the season. Looking solid. They are going to be the team to beat again this year. But I still think Liverpool can beat them to the title, despite the slow start that we've had. But I think with the game against Bournemouth at the weekend, we've seen Liverpool turn up in the way that we know they can do, and play the football that we know they can do. And they were really exciting, some of the goals that was going on. So I'm with you, Charlie, but I think we will. Hopefully, we'll see someone else jump into the fray. Maybe in Arsenal.
I'm hoping Arsenal makes it a 3-horse race, at least.
Yeah, well, because it's getting a bit boring with just City and Liverpool. And at the minute, you've got to say it's City and Liverpool. Liverpool have won 1 title. They challenged them for 4, and they've won 4. And City have won the other 4. So
2 of those were by like 1 point, right?
Yeah, and really high scoring seasons. Where any other year you'd have won the title.
Yeah.
Hey, Harrison. Brian is not joining us tonight. He's just got in from the footy, so he won't be able to join us tonight. So hopefully we'll get someone like Arsenal coming in. They've had a good start, Arsenal. They've made some good signings in the summer. We said this a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, something like that. I don't know if it is going to be like that, and I think it will be a weird season because there was some of the results that we've seen already. I think we could have a season like a couple of years ago, By the way, you see the likes of Man United breaking into the top 4 and stuff like that with their squad. But they could do better. They're doing better. Just signed that Anthony from Ajax, was it? So we'll see how he gets on when he settles in.
So that's definite then, right? It's already been...
It's done. It's done. It's confirmed. Yeah, he's over. He's signed now for Man United. So they'll be looking forward to that, and they'll be... Particularly with the result against Liverpool last week, they'll have the tails up for a few weeks. They definitely will have the tails. If they get on a run of games, because I wouldn't say they've got an awful squad. I wouldn't say that. I just think they've just been playing awfully, United, over the last couple of years. I wouldn't say they've got an awful squad. They've definitely got a squad good enough to get into that top 4. As they proved it a couple of years ago, because that's what they've done.
Yeah, I saw something today that said Man United's pretty much have had the most net spend over the last 10 years. They have spent the most without getting any return for it over the last 10 years. Even over Man City, they've spent more on talent, and I was happy to see that Liverpool wasn't even in the top 10. So
no, well, this is it. People think it's all about the money. It's all right spending money because Liverpool, there was a 10-year period with Liverpool that spent the most money net, at the biggest net spend, and they didn't win nothing. It's not about spending the money. It's about spending the money right. It's getting the right players in, the right
Yeah,
stuff.
and if you're trading players for that amount, and it's not something that's above and beyond what you're making. So it's more like trade-offs than you're just spending brand new money on something that you're not getting anything on.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that because I've seen on Twitter today FSG out as trending yet again. And I'm like, well, because we're not signing this midfielder. Yes, we need a midfielder. I'm screaming out for a midfielder. I think we need to go and get that midfielder out this year. Really, really do.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're not putting the club into debt and where we were when FSG took over is kind of surprising me. But Jurgen Klopp didn't quite help with that debate today with what he said in his press conference. He's not the one in charge of how much he spends. He'd like to try a little bit more, but I think he gave a little bit of a underhanded hint that the owners haven't been forthwith with the money as much as he'd like them to be. So I'm with them on it because I think we could spend more money than we have. The net spend is probably a little bit too low. I mean, they can spend a bit more. We'd be well with them for FFP, I think. Although I don't know too much about that. I'm not going to sit here and say I know everything about FFP because I don't. But you think, we're one of the lowest net spends, and we generate some of the biggest money in the game. And you got the likes of, Man City spending more than you. We don't have the same income as Liverpool do. They're just not as big. So I'd like to see us spend a bit more. Like I've said it before, I think we should go and get this midfielder. My preference is Jude Bellingham, but whoever Klopp wants, I trust. If Klopp wants them all, whoever gets the players and picks the players, they've proved over the years now that they know what they're doing. So whoever they decide to get, I'd be happy with that. But I think we should go and get someone before the transfer window. Is it Thursday? I think it's Thursday in 2 days. I think the owners need to stump up a little bit of cash. And I'll be honest with you, Charlie, it wasn't just the Liverpool fans that were coming out saying it today on Twitter. I've seen a couple of the Boston Red Sox fans saying it as well.
Really?
So, to the baseball club, yeah. So I'm a bit amused. I understand why some supporters want them out. I understand that because they're not seeing enough spend on it. They want a bit more money spent on the squads and stuff like that, especially when you're seeing your midfield aging as much as they are, get so many of them being in the 30s. So, but I just remember where we were when they took us over. Hicks and Gillette were a lot worse.
Yeah, no kidding.
A lot worse. If it wasn't for a court case that went through with FSG, there would be no Liverpool Football Club. It'd be gone. It was in that bad of a state. That's where they took us. So I'm always eternally grateful for that they saved Liverpool Football Club from disappearing off the map completely. They've done some good stuff. We've won some trophies. We've been doing a lot better. They've put a model in that makes us financially sound. So these people who are saying we got to go and spend hundreds of millions of pounds, go back to the Hicks and Gillette days when we nearly went bust. It's not sustainable. We can't do it. We're a club who can spend a lot of money because we generate a lot of money. But we need to also be careful on the trade-offs as well. I personally like what they're doing, but I know some Liverpool fans are paying for the blood, shall we say, looking for protests on Wednesday night or at the weekend. To get them out. And I'm just thinking it's just a bit too soon for me. Just let's see how it goes. Let's see where we're at. We're a bit short in midfield, definitely. Do we need one? I've said yeah all along. Yes, we do. I've said a couple of years we need midfielders in. But let's see where it gets us. Let's see where we go. In Klopp we trust.
Yeah, I think we need at least two solid. And I'm talking about a certain type of midfielder. We need, for a while we had, Gerrard was the commander in midfield, and now, Henderson's been that for the last, 6-7 years. He's been the general in charge. Now we need a new one of that type. We don't need so much another Thiago or another magician in the middle. I think we have some spunk and creativity in Thiago when he's healthy, and even Elliott, he's doing some really good stuff. I like, and when Jones is healthy, he showed some signs of being a really good player, but then some other games he would show nothing,
Yeah.
So I'd like to have some, have some promise coming up from the academy, but you need that really tall, strong, commanding type person that's going to be a force in the middle.
Yeah, but they only get that from the experience that they get. If you look at Jordan Henderson when he come in as a kid, and he learned that bit off Gerrard, like you said. It's once they've learned that and they've matured into the game, I think it's when they're in the mid-20s, the late 20s, they start becoming that kind of player for us. So we'll have to see them coming through. I'm with you. Jordan Henderson's been doing it for a while. That's where we need to be targeting now, is that strong midfielder that knows how to lead. We had it with Gerrard, we had it with Henderson. So yeah, I agree. There's that, and there's also the backup for Fabinho. Because when you have a defensive midfielder on, when you attack the way you attack, it's priceless. The weight in gold. So when Fabinho gets injured, we're sort of relying on other people who are not really as adept at doing that kind of role than he is. So I think we need a couple of midfielders. I'll be honest with you, a couple of midfielders. I'm really impressed with Carvalho since he's come in. He's looking like a real player. But he's looking more like you say, that the attacking type midfielder, or the one that's going to go, well, I'm going to slot in the top three like he did against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
He came on, he was in the attacking midfield role, then he went on to and then when Firmino come off, he went up into the top three. And he played absolutely brilliant there. So he looks like he could play virtually anywhere at the top and across from one side to the other. And then you got Harvey Elliott, but again, he's an attacking midfielder. He's going to create chances. He's not going to go there and stop the chances happening. He's looking to do the flair stuff. So we need.
Well, I've also
that one with the mouth that's going to shout at everyone.
I've written a letter to Klopp, suggesting that maybe he starts training Phillips in another role, saying, okay, take him as a central defender, start taking him and start training him also as a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
Just a little bit in front of him. He's a guy that's going to be winning head balls everywhere. He's an enforcer, and it's not too much of a role change for him to just move up 10 feet, right? Something like that. Either him or Gomez or something like that. Gomez has speed, he'd be I have my little league that I play in, that you play the coach. It's the Coutinho one. I mean, not the Coutinho one, the Mourinho. It's a soccer league that I play in and out, and I like to double train all my little players. Having being able to play different roles. So I can always interchange them if I need to certain formations that I want. So I think I keep on thinking, like, okay, what if they started training like Alexander-Arnold, start training him to be midfielder, start training someone like Phillips to be a defensive midfielder or something like that. We could be having some young people that aren't being used that could be used in other roles.
Trent is a midfielder. Trent's natural position is midfield. That's where he was in the youth setup. He's just turned that right back into his own. He's an absolute monster there on his day. If you're going to do that, you're going to have to get someone who's going to go and slot in at the right back, or he's not there. But if you've actually noticed,
but you have Gomez. Gomez could switch over there. Gomez was right back too. If you want to move Alexander up, put Gomez over, but Phillips into Gomez, and you have some play there that I think those are just natural changes right there if you ever needed them. But I see what Klopp's doing. Gomez is very good in the middle. He's strong and he's fast, and he's starting to cover up for an aging Van Dijk. So I like Gomez in the middle, but if you had to, you can put Phillips in the middle, move Gomez over to the right, move Alexander-Arnold up.
I don't know if you noticed the last few games with Trent. He doesn't stick outside. He comes inside now. He tends to come inside a lot now. So he comes into that midfield role anyway. He tends to play there and the right back at the same time in games. If you actually watch him as we're going forward, where he's normally going on the outside, that's where Salah is now. Salah's taking that position up. And Trent is coming inside. It's a funny one. I noticed it a few times against Bournemouth and against some of our other area games as well this season. So I don't know if there's something going on there where Trent's being told to come inside a bit more. Maybe that's a decision made by Trent and Klopp just allows him to express himself. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, in terms of retraining people, yeah, there's definitely that. Nat Phillips, he can win the ball. Can he read the game enough, though? That's the thing. Because when you're in that position, you need to be able to read the game really, really well. And you're in that. Because if you look at Fabinho, he doesn't look like he's stretching in any way. Because he just reads the game. He knows what's going to happen before it happens. He probably knows what the player's going to do before the other player knows what he's going to do. So that's the sort of thing we need to get in. Can you train someone to do that? Or can you get someone in that does that? One thing to say, we do need a midfielder. And I hope we go and get one this summer. Because sometimes waiting just isn't the right thing to do. Particularly if the player that you want is available. If there's a way to get a deal done, then go and get it done. And they proved they can do that, Liverpool, last January with Diaz. When Diaz become available because Spurs were in advanced talks with him. And they went into it, so we're not waiting until the summer now, we're going to get you now. I just don't know why they don't have that mentality in the summer. Just go and get it. If they're available and you can get a deal done, go and get it done. But in terms of the performance, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. The best I've seen them play all season, obviously, because we won. 9-0. It's not a scoreline you see a lot. So it's not about who we were playing. It's about the way we played.
And I'm glad they kept the gas pedal on. Just run up that score. Hey, whatever they can get, whatever they can get, because if City's going to be doing the same thing, Arsenal's going to be doing the same thing, and that's what they're going to be. Again, we've seen it time after time where it comes down to either 1 point or game differential is going to be. It's going to matter in today's league. It's going to matter.
It could very well be, because look at it, like say we've lost the title twice by a single point. That could quite easily have been goal difference.
Yeah.
So you spotted. We've had 2 draws and a defeat, so we needed a big score to get our goal difference up and give it a bit of a boost. Hopefully, we can go and get we're at Newcastle tomorrow. Hopefully we can go and get Newcastle, get them beat, give them a good hiding as well, and let's see how they go.
Now they had some injuries, right? So I'm kind of happy about that because they look pretty good. They were.
Yeah, they're not
some good games.
They're not having the start of the season that they did last year, but it's still only Newcastle. They haven't gone out and bought absolute world-class players that are world beaters. They'll have the heart and the desire, but we should have way too much for them. Tomorrow. But let's see how that goes.
Yeah, let's see how that goes.
well, looking at sticking with the Liverpool Bournemouth game now, because if you look at it, Scot Parker, he got sacked. That's the first sacking of the season. We were talking just before we went live about the games that Bournemouth have had, and it's like, well, when you look at it, it's like you scratch your head of why that's happened. Is there something else going on? Has he lost the dressing room? Has he fell out with the owners or something like that? Because he played Aston Villa the first game of the season, 1-2-0. Then he played Man City, got beat. Played Arsenal, got beat. They beat Norwich in the League Cup. Then he played us and got beat, and then he was sacked. Is it the 9-0 that's done it? Is it the fact that they've been on the end of a 9-0 drubbing? Is that the reason? Be interested to find out what that was, but I'm scratching my head just to see why right now that Bournemouth went down that road. You know, he got them back up
Yeah,
into the Premier League anyway from the Championship. So would you not give him a chance? It's at least January. Get halfway through the season and see where we're at.
So Bournemouth's owner is Maxim Viktorovich Demon. So I was expecting it to be some type of owned by some type of country or whatever, but it's a Russian-born businessman. So I don't understand why an owner would sack this guy when he's done pretty good. You know, when no one else would do practically talking 20 teams, and you're probably talking 15 or 16 would probably have the same outcome with that same schedule.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you're right. They might not get the 4-3 and 9-0s, but they'll definitely get beat. I reckon the 4 and 3. I reckon the 4 and 3 has happened. Maybe not the 9, but what they got to factor in there is when Man United beat Liverpool and Liverpool didn't put the effort in, Jurgen Klopp took them for a meeting. And after that meeting, they've obviously cleared the air and got over stuff and sorted themselves out. That was a team from the off that was hungry to say, you think we're not here to take on this title this season? Well, we're going to give you the message. That's exactly what we're here for. We're here to fight for this title this year. We want this title. And to go out there and do 9-0, and people say it's just not Bournemouth, they've only just been promoted, but you don't get 9-0s. It's very few and far between you get 9-0s. It's the record goals. Since the Premier League started in 1992, I hate that. I hate it when people say that. But since that, it's the biggest goal. It's the biggest goal score or win margin of the Premier League era. So that was a message, and I felt for Bournemouth, and there was nothing the keeper could have done for any one of them goals. You know, he shipped in 9 goals, one of them an own goal, and 8 of them just unstoppable. You know, he could never have stopped them. And the way Liverpool were playing, Bournemouth would have had to have been on some kind of performance-enhancing drug to be able to stop Liverpool that day, because they were just in a mission. They didn't, like you said, they didn't let off. They kept going and kept going right at the last minute. And, the crowd was screaming for 10. I didn't think he'd get... I thought he'd get a dragging through the goals, Scot Parker. But I didn't think he'd get sacked. No chance. I didn't think the sacking was on the cards, because for me, my favourite for the sack is Eddie Howe. I'm just waiting for Newcastle to go on a number of bad runs, and they'll get rid of Eddie Howe, because it's on the cards anyway. You know, the owners with that kind of money, they're not going to want Eddie Howe there. They're going to want an Ancelotti or something like that there. Someone with pedigree of winning big trophies. So he was my favourite to go, but it looks like our old midfielder might be a favourite to go as well, Stevie G. You know, he's not having the greatest starts.
So far, not too good.
No. Another one to keep an eye on the managers.
Yeah, I don't know what's the situation at Aston Villa, particularly, but is Coutinho hurt? Is he?
I don't know. I don't know too much about Aston Villa. I should really keep an eye on what's going on, because that's what this show is about. It's about to talk about the whole Premier League. Really slow getting into it this year myself. I'll hold my hands up. So I just know Aston Villa haven't had the greatest starts. They're not winning great. They don't win on the lot, but it's 4 games in. It's like, I think we talked about this last week. It's why are we looking at the league table now? Why are people looking at the league table trying to predict what's going to happen in 30 odd games time? It's an impossible task. Because if you look at the table now and the way the run the games are gone, Liverpool have struggled to get in the top 4. City, Arsenal are going to win the league. It's just, I honestly don't think we should be looking at the league table until you get to about Christmas time. Well, initially, it's going to be November, because that's when there's no international break now until November for the World Cup. So we'll see. We've got Newcastle next. We've got some games going on tonight, to be honest with you, Charlie, believe it or not. We are blessed.
Right now, yeah.
As it stands at the minute, Crystal Palace are drawing 1-1 with Brentford. Fulham are beating Brighton 2-1. Southampton are beating Chelsea 2-1. And Leeds are 1-1 against Everton. Oh, in fact, Crystal Palace is a full-time score. There was a 1-1 draw with Brentford.
Yeah, Brentford came back. He scored.
We've got some games tomorrow.
Some big games tomorrow. This is okay. It's showing the live table and it's showing Leicester in 20th place at the moment, which is just really, really weird. They have 1 point so far, Leicester, this season.
Let's just get this up. Jog me memory for the weekend. Yeah, see.
Who knows? Maybe Brendan Rodgers might be the first one fired this season. Or the second one fired. That's right.
Could be. You see, Man United got a narrow win, 1-0 late goal at the weekend. You know, so they must have been a bit of a, after the Lord Mayor's show, they've gone to Southampton, not giving a great performance and scraped the win at the end. But he said he just made a good signing there, and Antony. They might come on strong now. Brighton beat Leeds. Brentford drew with Everton 1-1. Arsenal won the London Derby 2-1 on Saturday. And like I said before, Man City come from behind 2-0 to win 4-2 against Crystal Palace. Which, to be honest with you, I'm kind of happy with because I have Haaland as my captain last week. And he got a hat-trick, so he got me quite a few points. So who do you think will be the next manager to go then, Charlie? Do you think we stick with the manager discussion at the minute? Who do you think will be the next manager to go in this Premier League, in this crazy league of ours that it's turned into?
I don't know. The money is either on, Brendan Rodgers or Steven Gerrard, which are both Liverpool, tied with Liverpool at some point, right?
Yeah, well, Brendan Rodgers is favourite next with the chop. Not a great start. Like you say, they're in the bottom part of the table. They're in the relegation zone. Not a good place to be. He's got history, though, of doing well in the end, Brendan. Do you know what I mean? He'll get Leicester up there. But is that what Leicester are after? Or are Leicester wanting to be a bit more than that? Leicester wanting to challenge for these European places again? You know, because I just don't see them doing it at the minute, you know?
Well, maybe they'll be able to get Ronaldo on a free transfer or something. Ronaldo wants out of Manchester.
Ronaldo will want to go somewhere else, another country, won't he? He won't want to go stay in the Premier League, I don't think. I think he's come here and he's realised, oh dear, I can't.
Maybe he'll come join Beckham and play for Inter Miami.
Yeah, he could be. He could be looking for an MLS team. Yeah. Improve the quality of that league anyway, wouldn't he? Let's put it that way. Gareth Bale's gone over there.
I started watching this new show just to get off a little bit, but it's called Welcome to Wrexham. It shows how those Ryan Reynolds and some other actor guy bought the club and how that turned to. So finding that interesting. That's on Wednesday nights over here, so I'm finding it interesting. I love that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys get it. Oh, it's on. I want to say. Oh, it's on FX. I'm not sure if it's on streaming anywhere. It might be streaming on Peacock, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. So I've seen it. I've seen that Ryan Reynolds has bought a football club. He had to correct an American on Twitter. It's that come quite popular in the news today, particularly in the sports columns. You know, Ryan Reynolds, he corrects an American person who says, I think he was just complimenting it really, but he turned around and he said, Ryan Reynolds saves an English soccer team. He had to remind them, it's a Welsh football team, it's not English.
Yeah.
In England, the two different countries. I think the people of Wales actually enjoyed
Ryan
that.
Reynolds, I think, is Canadian. So
Is Ryan Reynolds Canadian?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that he came. Maybe he's American now, but I think he actually was. He came from Canada. So
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm finding that interesting. I just wanted to.
It'll be one to look out for that one now. What's it called? Made in Wrexham or something like that.
Welcome to Wrexham. I guess Wrexham used to be they're like the oldest professional team, I guess. I don't know. It's something like that. And like one of the first professional football teams in England or the world or in, I don't know, that area. I don't know. I got to pay more attention to them.
They probably classed as one of the founding clubs. So your founding clubs are the clubs that were around and created the league that we know today.
Maybe, yeah.
So you got like the likes of Everton. Everton were a founding club and stuff like that. I think Aston Villa was one as well. Wrexham could well have been one of them. They've been around a while. But yeah, you tested me knowledge here, Charlie. I think so. I'm just going to go with, I'll look that one up and see what we come up with on that one. If the
All right.
So yeah. I'm just trying to think. Stuff going on in the Premier League over the weekend. I've been really poor at getting prepared for this week's show. Really, really poor.
Oh, Leeds just tied it up with Everton, so now they're 1-1.
Yeah, seeing that, yeah. But see, Brighton have had a good start to the season again. They're in 4th place.
Full time, they just lost to Fulham.
They've just lost to Fulham. So, but both them teams have had a decent start to the season. So, I'm kind of surprised with that one with Brighton. I thought they'd have gone there and got the win there because they're having a really good start to the season, and I thought they might have got a draw or something like that or a win. But
so Fulham's the American, the Ted Lasso guy, right? Fulham? Is that?
Hey?
Fulham has the American manager.
No, it's Leeds.
Oh, Leeds. Okay.
Leeds. Yeah, Leeds has Ted Lasso.
All right. Yeah, I'm getting those two mixed up all the time.
Yeah, and they're drawing at the minute with Everton. I reckon that'll end up at the draw with the way it's going at the minute. So that'll be. But Chelsea getting beat again. Look at that for the start of the season. We're talking about Liverpool having a poor start last week. We've finally got a good win under our belt. But Chelsea, let's just get their fixtures up a minute. And let's see.
Oh, it's up to 7th now. Wow. Chelsea's that drops to 8th. That was Brighton's first loss.
Let me just get them up. And so Chelsea fixtures. So yeah, they beat Leicester last week, but Leicester are having a really bad season.
Yeah.
They got beat by Leeds the week before that. They drew with Tottenham. They beat Everton in the first game of the season. Right?
Yeah.
So now they're getting beat by Southampton. It's in the 90th minute now. So we're looking at possibly another defeat on them. So that's 2 defeats out of 5 games. 2 wins and a draw. So not a great start to the season for Chelsea standards that they set last season. They were going through. It wasn't a 2-horse race for so long with Chelsea. It was a 3-horse race because it'd be a case of you'd look at Liverpool, they play there, they'd win, and you'd see Chelsea and City win, and you'd see, Man City play early, and then you'd see Liverpool and Chelsea win. It was just a really good season to start off with last year with the 3 teams going at it. But for them to drop off so much, I know they got this stuff with the owner, Abramovich, and he's being sanctioned by the UK government.
Yeah.
But the players are still the players. The manager is still the manager. There's not been any change on that front in any kind of great shakes. If anything, they've probably improved it by getting Sterling in. You know, so it's a funny one, that one.
I know. What you always hear over here, though, with Chelsea is, it's like the abuse of Christian Pulisic. It's like, he's the American star that's not getting starts, and he's supposedly looking. He wants out and wants to look somewhere else, and it's like, well, whatever. But
yeah,
you gotta wonder, what the truth is in regards to, is he just not good enough? Is he not performing good enough in practice to get him a starting, to get him first line start, or is it something that the manager is being an idiot about? But I know if you're Christian Pulisic, you want to play. You don't want to be on the bench. You don't want to be coming in every single time. You want to play you want to start every game. So if he is unhappy, then he should have, he should go somewhere else that's going to play him, especially with, the more he plays, the better America's chances are at the World Cup and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he's obviously probably the most popular player over here. He's probably, I don't know if there's any others that are. Obviously we have lots of different players throughout the Premier League and Bundesliga and whatnot, but he's still the top billing in regards to shirt sales and the hope of men's national team soccer in the USA anyways. So we want to see him play,
Well, he needs to play to get fit. If he's looking at the International World Cup, if he's looking to play for that, he's going to be wanting to get some games.
No, he's not going to get looked over for the U.S. national team. He's going to be on that.
I'm talking about his own personal fitness, his match sharpness, the match fitness, Yeah. If you want him playing, you will play him because he's your best player. But you need them sharp, Charlie. That's the thing. You need them sharp. You're not going to be sharp if you're playing games. I don't know why he doesn't get played at Chelsea. Maybe he doesn't fit the system,
Maybe, I can't think of it. Yeah.
There's what's the manager's name now? I forget his name. Gone right off my head. Tuchel. Does Tuchel not really fancy him as a player? I don't know. There's only them who could answer it. Is the players, is the people at the club? But like you say, if he's not happy, he needs to find somewhere. He needs to find a suitor that's going to come in and give Chelsea what they want to exchange the contract, and give him the playing time. Because I can't remember who was talking this about. It's like these kids who go out, and sit there on the bench, at big clubs instead of going, you know what, I'm going to take a few steps down. I think we spoke about it last week on the show. We were talking about like Jude Bellingham and how he's come along. He was at City, and he went, and then he's over at Dortmund, and he's got the games, and he's now a sought after player because he done that. So the top clubs, because if you're good enough, you'll always get back to the top clubs anyway. But if you're not good enough, no point spending your career sat on the bench. What's the point in that? You're a footballer. Your career's only probably one of the shortest careers in the world. So you need to find somewhere where you're going to play.
Yeah.
So hopefully he does do that. He finds somewhere for him. If he's not happy at Chelsea, then he needs to put a transfer request in as well. There's always that for him to do.
Man, I have a beef about this fantasy league app here. It's like fantasy league, it tells you, okay, there's only 50% chance of playing, right? So I bench him, saying, okay, he's not going to play or whatever. Now he has 7 points, sitting on the bench. Come on. Come on. I'm sick of losing to you and John.
Well, there you go. It's full time in the Chelsea game. They've been beat 2-1. There we go. That's that done. Yeah, but they got West Ham up next as well. And then they got the Champions League as well after that.
Well, West Ham's another one is not doing too good, aren't they? They're
not starting off great. But if there was ever a game for the West Ham to get going again, it's against the rivals Chelsea.
Yeah.
So I can see that becoming.
West Ham 17th currently. Wow. They only have what, 3 points?
Yeah, they're not doing good.
They're 1-0-3. So yeah, so they're not doing too good themselves.
I just looking at the table for me is it's false, because are you telling me that Leicester are going to be rooted to the table in about 4 weeks' time? They're not. They're not going to be. They're going to start picking the results up, and they're going to climb up that table. You know, if I was someone like, I don't know, like a Nottingham Forest, seeing myself at 14, I'd be a bit worried even at this early stage of the season. But it's like when people are going about Liverpool, oh, you're right down by the relegation zone, you're going to get relegated. No, we're not. We're going to be up by the top in a couple of weeks' time, because we're going to pick ourselves up and get going again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Arsenal, they're flying, but trust me, they will start to falter at some point. It's just, it's going to happen. That is going to happen. You know, Brighton in fourth, yeah, they're not going to stay there. So looking at the table now, I'm looking at the table now and I'm looking at it going, which part of them am I thinking, yeah, that's a realistic place for where you sit? You know, there's not many. There's Man City in second. They're not going to alter that much. You know,
Did Arsenal make Champions League this year?
No, they missed out just by.
So that's something else in their favor now. That's in regards to Premier games, though. Premier League games. That's another competition that they don't have to worry about. What are they in? They're in.
No, but they're in the Europa League, won't they? They're in the Europa League, so that's even worse. You know, that's even worse. I mean,
how so? How is Europa?
There's a lot more games, and the travelling you do. You end up going by Russia. You end up travelling over to Russia and stuff like that.
Oh.
You know, so you're doing really long journeys in the middle of the week. So you go in, 4 or 5 hour flight, 6 hour flight out of there, and then back, have your game back, play at the weekend. Nightmare, absolute nightmare. You've got to really use your squad for that one. And what a lot of clubs do is they'll prioritise the league over the Europa League. If they felt that they could get into the Champions League, but then they started dangling the carrot down of, you win the Europa League, you get your Champions League spot. So the team started to take that tournament a lot more serious.
Yeah.
Because of that, because it was a way into the Champions League. Yeah, so Leeds have drew, they're fifth. You know, Chelsea have been beat, like you just said there, again.
Woohoo.
So I'm not going to be too disheartened about that, but, you know, Chelsea, if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'll be sitting there going, what is going on with my team? Because it's not only that they're getting beat, they've actually got a negative goal difference, which was not. They had probably the best defence for a long time in the Premier League last season. For a long time. And for some reason now, they're not scoring goals, but they're conceding goals as well. They're conceding a lot of them. You know, they've conceded 8 goals already in 5 games. That's not the Chelsea that was here last season. You know, you struggled to get goals past Chelsea last season. You know, really struggled, but they seem to be just shipping them. So something's going wrong. Something's going wrong at the top. Something's going wrong at the back. What's the manager changed? I'm gonna watch a few games at Chelsea today. See what they're getting at.
It looks like James didn't play for Chelsea today.
No, he didn't. No, he was on my fantasy team.
He's on my fantasy. That's why.
Yeah. I didn't get around to changing it in time. I didn't realise there was games tonight, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, so I say to stay looking at the league now is just pointless. It's a fallacy, because I could probably name 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 teams that are in thereabouts where they'll probably end up at the end of the season. You know, but I can see a load of teams that are in a place where they will not be at the end of the season. So Arsenal in first, they're not going to finish first. I reckon they'll finish fourth or third. I can't remember. I had them in my prediction. I had them at third in my prediction.
Yeah, I have them at fourth.
Yeah. So I think we park the league for a couple of weeks, see where we are in a couple of weeks, and it'll look a lot different than it is today. A lot different. It might not look too different in the bottom three if these teams don't start picking their ideas up. And maybe Brendan Rodgers will be sacked by then, maybe Steven Gerrard will be sacked by then, and then they'll all be going for that boost again of getting the new manager. Because it was last season, wasn't it, when they took Steven Gerrard in, wasn't it? So he's only been in a year. So for me, for him, going back to the manager conversation, if we look at, Steven Gerrard, he's been there a year, just under. So he's had 1-2 transfer windows. We've spoke about this in the past in other seasons. For me, Steven Gerrard shouldn't be even getting considered to be sacked at the minute, because you should be looking at backing him and seeing how he gets on, giving him a few years, but knowing the kind of club Aston Villa are, they might knee-jerk and change him because they might get a little bit too close to that relegation zone and go, "Oh, needs to change. It worked in the past, let's work again." And all they do it for is that little shock, that little boost to get you up the table a little bit, to get you safe. You end up just going round in circles. It's a vicious circle for me. So I think they should back him. Frank Lampard, he's not been in the Everton job long. I don't see him being looked at getting sacked as yet. David Moyes, though, if he doesn't pick if he doesn't pick it up, he could end up getting the bolt. He's been there a few years now. I know he's done well, but he's look at where they are now. They're in 17th at the minute. I know I just said don't look at the table, but I'm looking at the manager conversation and clubs, how they react to get that boost up the table. Leicester, I really do fear for Brendan Rodgers in that one. I think he could very well be the next one to go. But like I said, there's always a name on the card at Newcastle. Eddie Howe is on cards because of the owners that they've got, the money that they got. They're not going to want to throw good money into a bad situation that they would see it as. Because if you look at what they spent the money on over the summer, it wasn't really great players. It was players to keep them in thereabouts in the mid-table, try and push for the European places rather than, right, we're going to go for these big players. So what they'll be after is big manager. Give the big manager the bonuses, the big manager the big wages. They'll then have the name to attract the big players on their own, and then they'll be able to go and get them. So I'll just keep an eye out for the Newcastle manager having a blip and then getting carted off.
Really?
In fact, I'd stick my mortgage on it, to be honest with you. I feel that confidence about it. I can just see it coming.
Wow.
Definitely. I wouldn't say it's going to be the next manager to be sacked. I wouldn't stick my mortgage on that, but I'd say at some point in this season, I reckon you'll see Eddie Howe getting bolted. I just see it coming. Just seeing it coming.
You also have them finishing 8th. You don't think they keep Howe if they finish 8th or better?
I've got them finishing at 8th.
Yeah.
Because I think they'll have a blip. Eddie Howe will go. And then he'll get the new manager in. Whatever it is. Or it could be at the end of the season that they have to just go, right, no, Eddie, that's enough now. We're going to get this new fella in. I don't know. I just see it in the cards because it's very rare you see owners that have that kind of money to throw at a team stick with the manager of the caliber of Eddie Howe, if you know what I mean. And what I mean by that, not that he's not a good manager. He just hasn't won a lot of things. He's not the manager that your top players are going to go, I want to go and play for him. Do you know what I mean? He's not a Klopp or a Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
What is one for you? Just coming to my mind. Come to the end of the season, Pep Guardiola leaves Man City, and then Newcastle United pick him up. Hey, I can see that happening. Because Pep Guardiola, he's got a reputation for going to these places, you know?
Yeah. And they have the money, and that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for those ones that have been all over the place already. They've already, been to Barcelona or Madrid and everywhere. All the top teams in every single league is like, okay, what's the next challenge? And after you run out of places to challenge yourself, then nothing's left but money, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Start thinking about retirement.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Right. I think we've covered everything that we need to cover this week, Charlie.
Okay.
To death, I think there's not a great deal to talk about. Like I say, it's still early in the season. With VAR's not giving us much to talk about. Which is a pain in the backside because that was a good talking point for us over the last couple of seasons. Except for this, the new rule change. Because if you noticed, Marcus Rashford last week scored a goal against Liverpool to get the winner. And when you looked at it, he was slightly offside. But the new rule now means that if the lines are crossing or touching, it's given to the advantage of the attacking player. So there's no more this, your toes off, that's it, you're gone, it's off, Which, to be fair, we fell foul to that a few times. It used to irritate me, so I'm glad it's gone. But trust it to go, and the first time it happened, it'll be against us.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's the only thing of VAR that I've picked up in this early season is that little bit of rule change. We'll see how that goes. Because
with Nunes, it might be to our advantage this year, right?
Exactly, because like I say, it's something that's caught us a few times. Mane's been caught a few times, Salah and all have been all caught a few times on that. The lines are crossing, it's only just off, and getting done by a toenail. Which I was always at odds with, but it'll be interesting to see if people start moaning about that now. Well, it was off. We can't make it because us football fans, if we're not, we're fickle. If we're not, we are fickle. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I think we've covered everything that we need to cover.
Okay. So next Tuesday at 4, next episode, right?
Yeah, so we'll be back next Tuesday at 4. Hopefully we'll have Brian with us next Tuesday.
Now, am I right that there's pretty much this is the schedule in regards to?
This is our new schedule now, Charlie. Yeah.
Well, the Premier League is now they're playing weekends and Tuesdays and Wednesdays now for a little bit, right?
Yeah, they possibly will be doing it because they got to get the games in time for the World Cup. So
it's like we have 17 games in like a matter of 90 days or something like that. It's like
I think it's something crazy like that, and then they've got then they've got the World Cup to go to. Which it's just mind-boggling. Yeah. And then they come back off the World Cup, and they've got our great Christmas schedule to go through. 3 or 4 games in 5 days. So yeah, I think the players are going to get burnt out. That's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be a weird season because of things like that. I think fatigue will set in a lot. Teams will start picking up injuries.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Players never ever. You never get all your players back from a World Cup without injury. Difference this time is there's no pre-season to soak that up. They're out your team straight away. So it's going to be a weird old season, weird old season for me. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, there's a lot of games going on. We're playing midweek. We're looking at doing possibly some live streams as well with the games and doing stuff like that and getting that going.
If you guys end up going live tomorrow, whatever, just send me the link and I'll try to join if I can.
Yep. Yeah, we'll do. So hopefully we'll get to do something over a weekend with you as well, Charlie, because I think it's good to have the reaction of the game as you're doing it. We have this we can talk about it, which is great. But I think getting some of the reactions in there would be a good thing as well. I think doing a bit of that. What we'd have to be careful of is we'd have to sync our signals because it depends on where you are. You would probably be, and this is how it works for me, is I'd be sat here not far away from where the game's being played. You'll be sat thousands of miles away, and you'll be a minute ahead of me.
Very funny.
So we'd have to sync our telly. You'd have to pause your telly until you get to the right point.
Yeah, that'll be funny.
Yeah. But we'll see how that goes as well. I'm going to see if we can get that set up soon so we can do that as well. That'd be good. Anyway, if you've been watching, whether live or on record, thanks for watching. Please do come and join in with the chat. We do like it when people get involved with the conversation. Let us know how your teams are getting on and stuff like that. What's bugging you? What's not bugging you? And that kind of stuff. So, as you just heard, it'll be every Tuesday. It's 9 p.m. UK time, which is 3 p.m. where Charlie's sat right now in the nice sunny state of Florida. 4 o'clock?
4 p.m. Yeah.
4 p.m. Sorry, Charlie. I was an hour.
Right.
Okay. So, until next time. Bye.
Bye.